Hi, my name is James Cressman, and I'm a junior majoring in computer science. I chose this topic because I've heard a lot about climate change and wanted to research how it directly impacts people around the globe. So this is my presentation on natural disasters and climate change. When talking about natural disasters, there's three main categories I've selected, pulling data from 2024 as it was the most reliable and available. Firstly, earthquakes. Climate change has resulted in areas having less groundwater over time. This can cause stress and weakened structure, leading to more earthquakes due to seismic activity. Then there's wildfires. Rising temperatures led to 2024 having the most destruction on record, burning over 33 million acres. This exemplifies wildfires burning double the land they did 20 years ago. Finally, storms are intensifying due to warming oceans, having 13 Category 5 storms since 2016 alone. Severity of natural disasters can be measured in different ways, and here are some of them from my 2024 data. There were about 11,000 people who died from natural disasters in 2024. There was also $320 billion in global economic losses from the natural disasters. There are about 393 natural disasters, and about 167.2 million people were affected. An important metric of natural disasters is, of course, the death tolls. The world has improved at responding to natural disasters as deaths have dropped from over 1 million people per year in the early 1900s to, as I previously stated, about 11,000 in 2024, but deadly events still strike every continent. Heat waves alone killed over 9,000 people in Europe, floods killed over 1,000 people across Africa, and Typhoon Yagi killed over 500 people in Southeast Asia. Now, why the decline? With modern advancements, people around the world are more prepared for disasters and are notified earlier of potential threats. A 4-day weather forecast today is as accurate as a 1-day forecast was 30 years ago. However, economic losses continue to rise sharply. Speaking of those economic losses, recovery costs are rising. In 2024, there were $300 billion of global disaster losses, which is the third most expensive year on record. There were $58 billion weather disasters in 2024, with $91 billion in losses in the Asia-Pacific region and Africa alone, which is well above the average. And as I previously said, there were over 167 million people that were affected by global disasters in 2024. The most costly events were Hurricane Helene, which cost about $56 billion in the United States, Typhoon Yagi, which was about $14 billion in Southeast Asia, the Spain floods, which was about $11 billion, Brazil floods, $7 billion, and the Europe floods, which was $9 billion. Climate change is leading to worsening storms. There have been 45 Category 5 hurricanes over the last 100 years of data, with 2025 having 3 Category 5 hurricanes, second only to 2005, which had 4. From 2022 to 2025, there have been at least 1 Category 5 hurricane per year. Ocean temperatures are a big factor in this increase as climate change causes the average ocean temperature to rise. In 2024, there was $135 billion in losses from tropical storms, and the 3 Category 5 hurricanes in 2025 can be linked to over 80% of the Atlantic Ocean being at above average temperature. Aside from storms, wildfires and droughts are major contributors to natural disasters, with 33 million acres of forest being burned in 2024 by wildfires, which was a new global record and surpassed the 2023 record of 29 million acres. Forest fires now burn 2 times more tree cover globally than 20 years ago. Greece, Canada, Brazil, and the US all hit record wildfire years. And the Amazon drought caused $6 billion in damage in Brazil. Now, droughts, which can lead to earthquakes, as I previously discussed, multiply disasters, wildfires, famine, and ecosystem collapse, and they weaken groundwater, destabilize fault lines, dry out vegetation, and devastate food supplies, which creates compounding crises globally. Human impact, climate change, makes disasters worse. Global CO2 emissions are rising, causing worse natural disasters. In 1950, 6 billion tons of CO2 were emitted. In 1990, it was 20 billion, and in 2024 it was 37.4 billion, making it the highest year on record. We've reached 422.5 parts per million for atmospheric CO2 in 2024, which is 52% above pre-industrial levels. Now, in total, 41.6 billion tons of CO2 were emitted, but this includes land use in 2024, which is up from 40.6 billion in 2023, which has no sign of a peak and will probably continue increasing. We have about 6 years until there's a 50% chance of exceeding the Paris Climate Agreement's 1.5 degrees Celsius warning. Thank you for watching, and here are my sources.